How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today I wanted to just pop in really quick with a bit of an announcement. We've actually surpassed 750 subscribers. I really can't believe it, and I obviously want to give you guys a big thank you. This is all because of you, and it really is, kind of strange. It's kind of hard to believe that so many people would care and bother and watch this little show I do. But seriously, to everyone here, thank you. And yeah, to be fair, we technically did pass this like a week and a half ago. But I always wait a minute on these things because I know the subscriber number really does fluctuate around a little bit, and I just kind of wanted to wait a moment, make sure it was real, and then kind of get my thoughts together. And overall, I do want to say this has been a really positive experience, just, making these videos and having you guys respond to them like you have. It's really been good, so I wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about the process, kind of talk about what I do, what I don't do, and the way I go about making these things. Not like an in-depth how-to, but just kind of what I do, So doing my reviews, one of the key things is I have to go in with a new watch. Even if I've seen the movie a million times, like say if I was going to cover Star Wars, I could almost do that review without having watched it in a while because I know that movie so well. But I always do a clean watch and then I go to my notes, and that's the important thing, is getting the notes down really quick while it's still fresh in my head. That's the most important thing. The time between watching the movie and doing the notes is even more important than the time between doing the notes and shooting the review itself. And I just want to make sure that all my thoughts are in order and that this comes out clean. I don't want to be too rambly, and I want to have some sort of structure where I'm not repeating myself all the time, and I make sure that I say everything I want to say. And also in the notes section, I try to make sure that I'm thinking of something new and being constructive. Like, when I talk about a movie, I don't want to just say it's bad or it's good. I want to figure out why and what works about the movie and what doesn't. And then I move on to actually shooting here. And when I shoot, I usually get a bit of caffeine beforehand. If I'm tired, I'll be sluggish and my personality won't be as good when I shoot the review, so I usually get a little bit of caffeine, and I do these all typically in one take. The thing with that is editing. Editing can be such a huge pain in the butt that I'd rather sit down beforehand, look at my notes, kind of read them aloud, do them a bit of a rehearsal, and then get up and do this thing. That usually helps me be able to do it where I don't really have to edit it too much, because any little snippet in the editing can turn into this pain in the butt, and editing takes so long. I do these in one take if I can. It is the only way I can keep up with the schedule, because I do want to talk about a lot of stuff, and I put out usually a minimum of 6 videos a week. So I kind of have to be able to go fast and move fast, and so one takes, no edits if I can. There are a few cuts you'll see in the videos sometimes. I try to not make them too obvious, but every now and then you'll see me here and then I'll bounce over here and the words are a little off. I will cut if I have to, and that's usually if I've been talking for over 5 minutes and then I flub and I'm like, well, the first part of that video is probably worth saving. I can do a stitch or two. That's not too bad. And the biggest reasons why I do wind up cutting, usually it's a bad cough. I record a lot of these in a row, So if I have a chance to actually shoot, which, some days I'm busy, I don't have a chance to shoot, so some days when I'm free, I'm in front of the camera a large part of that day, just talking and talking and talking, and then your voice gets kind of raw by the end of that. And if I've shot too many videos too quickly, I can start to cough a lot, and that's what I'll edit out. And also sometimes the train of thought just crashes. I try to get my structure right. I try to know what I'm doing. I try to keep the flow. But sometimes I just lose my place and I'll just, stumble around for a little bit and then just stare at my notes blankly for like 10 seconds and then turn off the camera. Whenever I do have to cut, I try to find the last point where the video was still working and then look at my notes, refresh, and then pick up from that point, and hopefully the cut won't be super noticeable. But yeah, they do pop up every now and then. But after that, you go and you make the thumbnail, which I actually try to have the thumbnails ready, because I want the thumbnail ready so that when I finally shoot the video, I can upload it as quick as possible. So some lazy days I'm just there making thumbnail after thumbnail for movies that I'm probably going to review. And the thumbnails, pretty simple. I don't get overly complicated. For whatever reason, it was just pretty much right from the beginning my inclination. I'm watching this movie on DVD, just take a photo of the movie and then write the title bigger. And I always just shoot pictures of the DVDs. I guess that is kind of weird. I don't see too many people doing it, but it just kind of felt like I'm talking about this, just take a photo of that, So I don't know. But I use the templates over and over, so if I'm looking for a movie that has a title with 2 words in it, then I'll find one Photoshop document that I've already made with 2 words, and then I'll change the words and change the photos, and in turn, the bigger bank of projects I have, I can do this a lot faster. And I try to keep the titles just bright colors. I don't know, I think it looks nice, and it stays, positive, So if I can, I'll try to pull out like a bright green or red or orange or something. I don't know. It's just, I think the colors look cool, adds a bit of flair. Yeah, I don't know, that's just why I go about it. But obviously, I can't just take a picture of the movie if the movie's not out on physical media yet. So in turn, if it's streaming, I'll look through the whole movie. And if it's not streaming, I'll find the trailer. And I'll look for a good screenshot from the movie. And that's what I always do. I pick some screenshot I can find, and I'll usually just try to go for a face. Facts is, YouTube thumbnails are small. You can't really get anything too overly complicated, although, boy, I know some people try. But I think with thumbnails, just get a good picture of the main character, put their face over there, clean, simple, and it works. But that's what I try to do, and that is kind of a thing that bugs me. Looking at other people's thumbnails, a lot of people just take the promotional art, and I mean, I guess that's what it's there for, but I hate looking up reviews for a movie and seeing all these thumbnails with the exact same artwork. And I know it shouldn't bug me, because I mean, the promotional artwork is there for that. It's whatever, right? But I don't know, man. Just seeing the exact same artwork repeated over and over again, I can't take that, so I try to just go for screenshots. Another thing about people's thumbnails that can kind of bug me is I never got the face of the reviewer on it. I mean, especially if you have artwork and face, I want to write the title of the movie, and that kind of takes up both halves of the screen, but it always did seem kind of odd. It's like review of the movie, that a picture of the reviewer reacting is like, oh, or yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I always felt that was a little cheesy, and I don't know. I've only ever had my face in like 2 thumbnails, and that was because I was doing something weird, like talking about the White Elephant game, and I just couldn't think what else to put in there. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just something I'm trying to avoid. But let's talk about other things that I don't do. And, I see, like, you know, a lot of other YouTubers, they lean into the clickbait, and, you know, it is a game of numbers for a lot of people. Personally, I don't care super much about numbers, but I mean, I see why, especially if you're trying to actually live on this. But man, it kind of makes the site look a little bit like garbage, and I don't like that. Like, one thing that I see on YouTube all the time when I search for movies, and I absolutely hate it, is when I see a review or a video about a movie, but there's not the title of the movie, and it's just a sentence talking about the plot, and they almost sometimes make it seem like a real movie, like, this happened, and you can't believe it. And then you click on them, and it's just like half the time a robot just summarizing the movie. And I'm like, maybe that gets views, but it's garbage. And I think, you know, okay, yeah, I see why, but man, there should be a bit of a better standard there. I was looking up the Adam Green movie Frozen, not the Disney one, the one where they're all stuck up on the ski lifts. And I found this video, it was one of the top ones that came up, and it was like, ski lift closes and leaves 3 people stranded on the lifts. And yeah, they made it seem like just a news story or something. They made it seem like it was real. That's garbage. And I try to not do that, not do the clickbaity stuff. And you see a lot of critics that do, and they typically lean into the rage. You know, they have a thumbnail, it's like, the worst thing ever for some movie that's okay. And a lot of other people, it is either rage or comedy. And personally, like, I want to be real, you know? I want to talk with you guys and, you know, kind of do these things that are like, I guess, mini podcasts, just me talking, not much editing, just keeping it real. Something like, you know, if you were talking to your friend after a movie came out, that would kind of be my goal. And in regards to the comedy, I mean, we all like a good laugh. I can't really complain too hard there. The only thing is when you only find comedy for a movie, it's like, you know, I kind of wish we could be serious every now and then. And I would like, you know, a more real talk sometimes. But the comedy, that's fine. It's just when it's the only thing. The rage, though, to be fair, some rage is really just comedy, but people get super upset about movies that are basically fine but not great, and I really feel like telling them, if you want to be a rage YouTuber, watch the worst movies first. Because I feel like you wouldn't complain about Transformers 4 or 5 or whatever if you had seen, like, a truly awful movie like Shark Exorcist, you know? It don't talk about things like they're the bottom of the barrel when the bottom of the barrel is so much deeper and darker than you can imagine, you know? So that sort of fake rage, complaining about things, I don't know. And then it's got people, you know, working overly, you know, producers overly working their movies to the point where it dies because they're trying to make it good. And I just don't think it's a positive culture to be in, you know? So, I don't know. I try to keep it real, you know? And speaking of keeping it real, that's why I don't often talk about liking and subscribing. I thank you guys for it. Usually at the end of the video, I give a big thank you to whoever does. But I don't, like, interrupt the video. I don't just pause and say, hey, you know, only a small percentage of you... Oh, man, because that just doesn't feel real. I mean, can you imagine if that came up when you were talking to your friend just turns, hey, can you can you tell me that you like me? And don't get me wrong, I know that a lot of people are trying to earn a living here, and apparently people just don't push the like button if you don't tell them to, which, okay, whatever. I just kind of figured if they liked it, they would like it. But yeah, not needing to pull in numbers, I try not to harass or anything. I see some people now, they have it as a graphic that pops up on the bottom of the screen. That's less intrusive. I don't mind that. I don't know how to do that, but I don't know. That's less intrusive. But in regards to likes and dislikes and comments, I will say everybody made a big deal when they took away the dislike button, which they didn't exactly do, because it is still there. You can push it, it just doesn't tell everybody without that extension or whatever. But the thing is, I still get the dislikes and I can still see it. But dislikes, like, I don't get them too often, but I'll see one and I'll be like, okay, someone didn't like that, but it doesn't necessarily help me out if I don't know why they didn't like it. Like, you know, if you have some problem with the video, I'd rather you have a comment telling me why you didn't like it, because, you know, I'll just get a dislike and go, well, someone didn't like that. I don't know who or why, but someone didn't like it. But yeah, they weren't super helpful to me. In regards to comments, though, I do get a lot of positive comments, and those are definitely the feedback I care about more. Like, getting a comment is so much more rewarding than getting a like or a view, knowing that some real person actually saw and cared about the video enough to say something. It helps me feel like I'm not just yelling into the void, and you guys have been really positive. You know, every now and then I get a mean comment or a spammy comment or something, but for the most part, it's real nice people, and I do like seeing that. I try to respond to all the comments. I don't always, though. A few reasons for that. Sometimes YouTube simply doesn't tell me, and I'll stumble across a comment and I'll be like, I've never seen this before. They left it 3 months ago? How come no one told me? And then it would kind of be weird if I just responded to a comment after 3 months, but yeah, sometimes I just miss them. Other times, it's because it's old. I'll talk about a movie, and that can be relevant for a long time, you know. I'll make a video about a movie like 2 years ago, and then someone will watch it and they'll leave a specific comment about some plot point of the movie, and that was recent for them, but for me it was like 2 years ago, and I'm like, what happened in the movie? That was a long time ago. So sometimes it's just me, sometimes I'm just not fresh enough. And then sometimes I also get comments that are weird nonsense, and I know they're trying to say something about the movie, but I just have no idea what they're talking about, and that's a very small percentage of you, but, you know, again, it's very rare. If you're wondering if you do it, it's probably not you, because I don't think these people think. But I just encourage people to proofread, because if I don't know what you're talking about, I can't respond to it. So, you know, a little proofreading is good. I always try to do it. But yeah, those are the big reasons why I don't respond. But I try to, as many people as I can, and I really do love these interactions. And I meant a lot of nice people out there, which is always really cool. You know, that's one of the things why I started this, is I really care about horror movies, but even obscure stuff. And, you know, you find someone and you want to talk about, like, Sharknado 4, and no one else cares about that, especially because it's a few years old, so you kind of put it on the internet, and, you know, it does a good job of linking people that actually care about something together when you don't find it in real life. And I do want to do a lot more of these. I'm not the most energetic guy, but there's so many movies, and I feel like they really all should have at least one person out there talking to them. And when I find a movie that no one's talked about, that's when I get pretty excited and I really want to cover it. But yeah, I just feel like there should be something out there for people who like a movie and then they want some content talking about it to make it more real, you know? So that's a lot of the reason why I do what I do. And someday I would love to have every single movie on this shelf reviewed, but that will take a little bit of time. But anyway, thanks to everybody. I gotta get back to the drawing board and review more stuff soon, so gotta get to work. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. Probably just my thoughts playlist with looser, more non-reviewy videos like this. But if you want to see my standard stuff, you can just head to the channel. See what I've been doing lately. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.